So, hello everybody. In my last lecture, I have discussed about Target bearing capacity and modified equation of Target bearing capacity and some factor regarding water table correction. Okay, some correction factor regarding water table. So there is another method called Skempton method for bearing capacity. So Skempton method for Skempton method. Okay, to calculate ultimate bearing capacity, there is another method called Skempton method. So in case of Tarjagi method, there was some assumption like he assumed steep footing, and he calculate the ultimate bearing capacity in case of shallow foundation. So Tarjagi assuming only base resistance, but in case of Skempton method, he assumed base resistance and side resistance both. So this method consider base resistance and side resistance both. So as he assumed base and side resistance both, so this method can be applied in case of deep foundation and shallow foundation. So this method can be applied deep foundation and shallow foundation. Both. Okay. Now and another assumption is that he consider only purely cohesive soil. So soil is cohesive in nature, he consider. So we can write that this theory is applicable for purely cohesive soil. So in case of cohesive soil, what is the value of phi? Value of phi is 0. So in my last lecture, I have shown you that even when phi is equal to 0, then value of NQ is equal to 1 and value of N gamma is equal to 0. So now here NC value is given by Skempton. NC value is given by Skempton. Okay. So in my first lecture, as I described according to Skempton method, D by B ratio when is less than 2.5, it calls shallow foundation, and when D by B greater than or equal to 2.5, it called deep foundation. Okay. So now look, what is the equation of bearing capacity? Bearing capacity equation CNC plus gamma df NQ plus half b gamma n gamma So now look, as because NQ value is 1, so it will be 1 and it is 0, so the third term will be totally 0. So only left C and C plus gamma T. Now to find out net ultimate bearing capacity, we have to deduct effective stress at foundational level to ultimate bearing equation. So now what will be net ultimate bearing capacity? Net ultimate bearing capacity QNU is equal to QU minus effective stress at foundation level. Suppose it is a foundation, I am showing a isolated footing and it's ground level, it is foundation level, this is ground level, this is foundation level, and this is stress level. Okay, so B is width. Now look, suppose the depth of foundation is df. Df is the depth of foundation. Then what will be the effective stress at foundation level? Effective stress at foundation level will be gamma into df. So QU is equal to CNC plus gamma df minus gamma df. It is effective stress at foundation level, so it will be cancel out gamma df, so only left C and C. So QNU is equal to C and C. Okay, now Skempton describes NC as a function of D by B ratio. So as per Skempton, NC is a function of D by B ratio. That means is a function of shape of footing. What is D by B? D by B is nothing but the shape of footing. So we can write that function of shape of footing. Okay, so NC value will be changed according to D by B ratio. Now look, suppose value of NC as per Skempton. So suppose case 1. Suppose when D by B is 0, D by B is 0, that means we can say that the footing is on ground surface. So we can say footing is on ground surface. So in that case, value of NC given by Skempton is equal to 5 in case of strip footing. Okay, and value of NC is equal to 6 in case of square, circular, rectangular or wrapped footing. Okay, so this value very important, you have to remember those values. Case 2, when D by B is in between 2.5 to 0. So this is the condition of shallow foundation. In that case, the value of NC given by Skempton is NC is equal to 5 1 plus 0.2 df by b for stiff footing, NC is equal to 6 1 plus 0.2 df by b for square or circular footing, and NC value is 5 1 plus 0.2 b by L 1 plus 0.2 df by b for rectangular or raft footing. Okay, so and case 3, when df by b ratio is greater than or equal to 2.5. So this is the condition of deep foundation. Deep foundation. Okay, so what will be the value of NC? NC value is 7.5 for strip footing, and value of NC is 9 for square, circular, rectangular, raft footing. The maximum value of NC is then 9. 9 is the maximum value of NC, and it is the condition of deep foundation. Now I am giving some example, numerical example, like a question. Write down a question. The ultimate bearing capacity of a soil is 300 kilonewton per meter square. The depth of foundation is 1 meter. And unit weight of soil is 20 kilonewton per meter cube. So choosing a factor of safety of 2.5, find out the net safe bearing capacity. This is the question. Look, first read the question. The ultimate bearing capacity of a soil is 300 kilonewton per meter square. It is given. Okay. So, and the depth of foundation, suppose it is the foundation. And depth of foundation is 1 meter from ground level. Depth of foundation is 1 meter. That's mean df is equal to 1. Okay. unit weight of soil is 20 kilonewton given. Gamma is equal to 20 kilonewton per meter cube. So factor of safety 2.5. You have to find the net safe bearing capacity. Okay. Now, as because ultimate bearing capacity is given, so we can write QE is equal to 300 kilonewton per meter square. Depth of foundation also given. DF is equal to 1 meter. Unit weight of soil also given. Gamma is equal to 20 kilonewton per meter cube, and factor of safety 2.5. So now what is the equation of net ultimate bearing capacity? QNU is equal to QU minus effective stress at foundation level. So look, what will be the effective stress at foundation level? Effective stress at foundation level will be gamma dF. Okay. So value of gamma is 20 into dF 1. So it is 20 kilonewton per meter square. So 300 minus 20 will be 280 kilonewton per meter square. So now to find out net safe bearing capacity, what is the formula? We have to divide the net ultimate to the factor of safety. So to get net safe, QNU by factor of safety, then it will be 280 by 2.5. It will be 112 kilonewton per meter square. Now another example. Another question, second question. The width and depth of a footing are 2 and 1.5 meter respectively. The water table at the site is at a depth of 3 meters below the ground level. So question asks that you have to find the water table correction factor. Find water table correction factor. So the question, the width and depth of a footing are given as 2 meter and 1.5 meter. Suppose it is a footing. Width given as 2 meter width and 1.5 meter depth. That's mean this is 1.5 meter, and the water table present at a depth of 3 meter below the ground level. So if with the foundation is 2 meter, then what will be the level of stress? It will be up to 2 meter depth. So total stress level from ground level is 2 plus 1.5, 3.5, and in question giving that water table present at 3 meter depth. So suppose water table present up to depth at 3 meter. Suppose it is depth of 3 meter. So in my last lecture I have told you this is zone 1, this is zone 2, and this is zone 3. So in case of water table present in zone 1, then there will be no changes, but if water table present in zone 2, then there will be a change in third term. The equation of ultimate bearing capacity CNC plus gamma dA NQ plus half gamma B N gamma. So there will be a change as because water table present in third zone. So then what will be the water table correction factor? Then water table correction factor will be 0.5 1 plus x by b. Okay, the value of x at foundation level, you have to calculate x value from foundation level. So from ground level to foundation level 1.5, then what will be then from foundation level to water table, the depth will be 1.5, x will be 1.5 meter. Now on 0.5, 1 plus x value 1.5 by value of b is 2. So after calculating it will be 0.875. So this is water table correction factor. Sorry. Now there are basically three field test method to find out bearing capacity. So field test for bearing capacity. Okay, so one is plate load test, one is plate load test, another is standard penetration test, SPT in short form, and third is cone penetration test, CPT. Okay, so in plate load test and cone penetration test, you better refer my notes which I have given. So I only discuss SPT test. Okay, so what is SPT test? SPT, that means full form standard penetration test. Okay, so it is most important test, frequently asked in exam. Okay, most important. So this test can be used to determine, this test can be used to determine angle of shearing resistance, okay, relative density, ultimate bearing capacity based on shear criteria. Allowable bearing pressure based on permissible settlement criteria. And unconfined compressive strength of clay. Unconfined compressive strength of clay. So by this method we can determine all of this. Okay. So now I am sharing a picture of standard penetration test. This test, actually the split plume sampler is driven by dynamic mechanism of hammer. That means this is hammer. Okay. So now you have to measure the number of blows. So you can write procedure and look the picture of split plume sampler. Okay, this is the picture of split spoon sampler. Now procedure. What is the procedure? Split spoon sampler is driven by dynamic mechanism of hammer to make borehole. Okay. Second, borehole is made up to a depth at which n value is to be calculated. N value means number of blow. Split plume sampler is allowed to penetrate into the soil by applying impact by hammer. So weight of hammer is standard weight 65 kg. And free fall of hammer, height of free fall is 75 centimeter. Height of hole of hammer so now look, the SPT number, that's mean N, is defined as number of blows hammer required of 300 mm penetration of sampler. The SPT number is defined as number of blows hammer required of 300 mm penetration of sampler. So usually this test is performed in 3 stages. So suppose it is ground level. First, up to a certain depth, you have to excavate the soil and put here split spoon sampler. Okay, this is called test level. So usually this test perform in 3 stages of 150 mm, 150 mm and 150 mm. That means this is 150 mm, this is 150 mm, this is 150 mm. So as I told you, the SPT number is defined as number of blows hammer required of 300 mm, 300 mm penetration. So first 150 mm penetration is ignored, it will not consider. So whatever blow required for first 150 mm penetration, we have to ignore it. Suppose first 150 mm penetration N value is 20. This 20 value will not be counted. So second, suppose 25 penetration, N3 suppose 28. Then what will be the observed of SPT number? That 300 mm penetration, the number of blow will be 25 plus 28. Then hence observed SPT number number 25 plus 28, 53. Now this SPT number is subjected to following correction. Okay, one correction is called overburden correction, very important. Okay, one is called overburden correction. Okay, another is called dilatancy or water table correction. Now look, what is about overburden correction? Actually the value of SPT by observing, by performing this test, it is necessary to correct this value, as because suppose look, two granular soil possessing the same relative density, suppose 1 and 2. This is a kind of soil, this is another kind of soil. But if this soil having different confining pressure, then for high confining pressure, the soil having high confining pressure, for this soil we have to provide a higher value of blow. Suppose look, for this penetration, for last 150 mm penetration, okay, suppose this soil having high confining pressure, high confining pressure. So for that reason, we have to provide a number of blow more just to penetrate same 150 mm. That's why correction is required. So we can write that, it is necessary because suppose it is n naught, the observed value of SPT. The n naught value will have effect on due to confinement of soil at various depth. Okay. Now look, suppose the overburden correction value of value n1, it will be n naught into 350 by plus 70. Look, what is n naught? N naught is observed SPT number and what is n1? N1 corrected SPT number. And what is effective stress not? You see, it is effective stress at test level. Effective stress at test level. Okay. Another correction is called dilatancy correction. Another correction is called dilatancy correction. Dilatancy, or we can say water table correction. So when this kind of correction is required, if water table present at or above the test level, this is test level. If water table present at test level or above the test level, then this correction is required. So you can write, if water table is present at or above the test level, then water table, WT means water table correction, is required. So what will be then the corrected value? N2 is 15 plus half N1 minus 15. Okay, so most important formula here. What is N1? N1 is corrected SPT number for overburden, corrected SPT number for overburden. And what is N2? Corrected SPT number for water table. Okay, now look, if N1 value is just equal to 15, then this correction is not required. Okay, so note this correction is required when n1 is greater than 15. Obviously, if n1 is equal to 15 or less than 15, then there is no meaning of this correction. So, most important, if n1 is less than 15, mind it, then this correction is not required. Then this correction is not required. Is not okay. So from my next lecture I will continue. Up to then, okay, bye.